Hi, I'm Kira, and my best friend is Ryan. I'm going to tell you the story of how I met the woodcutter's son. Ryan and I were on a school trip and we were having a campfire at night. Everyone was trying to tell their scary stories. I wasn't afraid until Maya told the story of the woodcutter's son. Basically, they say that in these woods, there is a kid seeking vengeance. They claim his mother died giving birth to him, and when he was 10 years old, his father was killed and burned alive by the villagers because they suspected he was feeding his wolf, which he kept in his house with their sheep. They say the kid was going to die too, but apparently the wolf saved him. Since that day, everyone who encounters him in these woods would take their last breath. But of course, I wasn't going to believe that. They are just made-up stories. I was actually impressed by that one. So, as the night went on, I decided to explore the woods a bit more to prove there was nothing to be afraid of. As the night deepened and the campfire's glow flickered, curiosity got the best of me. Despite the chilling tale of the woodcutter's son, I felt a strange urge to venture into the woods, just to see for myself. I whispered to Ryan, "Hey, let's go take a look around the woods. I don't believe that story for a second." Ryan, always up for an adventure, nodded in agreement. Together, we quietly slipped away from the campfire and into the shadows of the trees. The forest was eerily silent, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves and the distant sound of crickets. As we ventured deeper into the woods, I couldn't help but feel a shiver run down my spine. The story still echoed in my mind, but I pushed it aside, telling myself it was just a legend. We walked for what felt like hours, with nothing out of the ordinary happening. But then, we heard a faint, mournful howl in the distance. It was an eerie sound that sent shivers down my spine. Ryan and I exchanged nervous glances but continued forward, determined to prove that there was nothing to fear. As we walked further, we came upon an old, dilapidated cabin. It looked abandoned, but there was an eerie aura around it. We cautiously approached, and as we got closer, we noticed some glowing eyes staring at us from the shadows. My heart raced as the eyes came into focus, and we saw a wolf. He looked at us with a mixture of sadness and curiosity. I froze, realizing that this might be the woodcutter's wolf. The legend had become a reality right before my eyes, and the fear I had dismissed earlier began to creep in. As the woodcutter's son and his wolf gazed at us, a strange unease settled in the air. The atmosphere grew colder, and I noticed that Ryan had started to back away, his face pale with fear. He whispered to me, "Kira, we should go back to the campfire. This isn't right." I agreed, feeling a knot of fear in my own stomach. We turned to leave, but when I looked back, Ryan was gone. Panic surged through me as I realized he had disappeared without a trace. "Ryan!" I called out, my voice trembling. There was no response, only the haunting silence of the woods. I turned back to the woodcutter's son, desperation in my eyes. "Did you see what happened to my friend? Where is he?" Terror coursing through me, I retraced my steps, rushing back towards the campfire where the rest of our classmates were. My breaths came in short, panicked gasps as I stumbled into the clearing, hoping to find Ryan sitting there safe and sound, but to my astonishment, there was no sign of him. I scanned the faces of my classmates who were still sharing their own spooky stories, oblivious to my distress. I approached our teacher, Mrs. Johnson, and asked in a trembling voice, "Have you seen Ryan? He was with me in the woods, but now he's gone." Mrs. Johnson furrowed her brow and replied, "Kira, you went into the woods alone. Ryan never accompanied you on this trip. Are you sure you're okay?" I felt a chill run down my spine as her words sank in. It was impossible. Ryan had been right there with me in the beginning. We had ventured into the woods together, and I could vividly recall him by my side. My memories were clear, or so I thought. I stammered, "No, that can't be. Ryan was with me, I swear." But as I looked around at the puzzled faces of my classmates, it became painfully clear that Ryan had never been with me in the first place. A cold realization washed over me. The woodcutter's son, the eerie cabin, and my friend's mysterious disappearance had all been part of a nightmare I had experienced alone. Tears welled up in my eyes as I grappled with the horrifying truth that I was trapped in a sinister forest with no idea of how to find my way back or what had become of Ryan.